So quickly, first moving to the agenda of the presentation, we have the main points we are asking is for the workspace. Everybody is talking about the new normal. So what is the now, next, and beyond? The presentation will capture these four broad themes in different forms. If you hear the panelists speak, they will capture rebooting the workspace in terms of what actions are you going to take, whether it's about the workforce, motivating them to return to the workplace, because as I mentioned, we started being careful. Today, we have become fearful. So how can we address those fears in the mind of our employees? And it will start right with the workspace where they step out to enjoy to resume work. So that is one aspect that we'll be covering in the presentation. Second is reimagine the work style. I mean, all of you would be hearing a lot of debate is going on that, you know, work from home is the new normal. People would not want to work from office. Some people are talking that how can we work from home? There is so much to do. So a lot of debate is going on between work from home and work from office. We will also try to address that and what looks more likely a scenario for tomorrow and maybe 1 year down the line. Third, rebuild the work environment. So while a lot of companies did take healthcare of employees seriously, but today it will be of paramount importance among all other things that the companies undertake. So when the employees join the workforce, how do we take care of their health, well-being, and create a sustainable work environment, and what we can do towards that. And last, reorganize the operation because of the mix of use of technology and various kind of work from home and work from office and the hybrid model evolving. How are our operations going to address to that? So these are some of the broad themes that we'll be capturing both from a industry point of view and from a healthcare point of view. And to speak about the two, we have our two panelists. First, we have Mr. Pratik Tiwari. He has almost 2 decades of experience in the healthcare industry. He has worked with a lot of pharma companies. Currently, he's been working with Medtronic, which is one of the largest medical equipment supplier in the world today. He's a director of strategy for the emerging market group. For all your benefit of the information for everybody, Pratik is also involved with the government, helping them procure ventilators, and he's actively working with the government on that front to make healthcare more easily available and sustainable in a government working environment. So he has been battling on the COVID front from day one of the pandemic, I can say, and he would have a lot of perspectives, busting a lot of myths that we have according to that, and how we can adopt that learning in the workspace environment. So Pratik represents the healthcare panel. Then from the industry side, we have Mr. Vishwanath. Vishwanath, as a lot of people in the fraternity would know him. He comes with more than 15, 16 years of experience in the healthcare, in the facility domain. He has worked with small and large organizations, so working on complex business solutions when it comes to facility, people, culture, and seen it all. Today, he heads the facilities for Grant Thornton, one of a very big consultancy firm who employ a lot of employees pan-India. So who better than him to speak about the industry perspective of how people are tackling? Because when Mr. Vishwanath speaks, he presents both the small and large organizations, because Grant Thornton itself might have some location with a lot of employees and some remote location, very small employees. He is responsible to take care of both, and consequently, he will cover the entire spectrum of the need or requirement we have from a workspace understanding perspective. So without much ado, I now would like to invite Pratik to share a small presentation and guide us on from a healthcare perspective, how can we make our workspace more agile and safe. So over to you, Pratik.
Thanks, Anup. I hope my screen is visible.
Not yet, Pratik.
Maybe after. Yes, Pratik, we can see your screen now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks Anup and the Cater Ninja team for inviting me for this panel discussion. As Anup said, I've been working in medical device industry for last 2 decades, and currently I'm working with the largest medical device company called Medtronic Healthcare, and we have product which are used in surgery, head to toe, any kind of product, any kind of procedures which are happening. So all those products are being manufactured and sales and marketing is being done by Medtronic. So that's a quick introduction about myself. I'll be covering a topic on safety and well-being of employees, and I think that's the paramount or the most critical thing for each of the organization currently who have started working. And this slide talks about that, where I'm talking about the commitment and the obligation towards safety of employees and families. I've divided into four buckets. The first one is guidelines, the second one is employee protection, third is training, and fourth is IT solution. And I'll just briefly cover about, we'll try to cover each of these points. So we have created a COVID central repository, and currently when anyone is typing about COVID on Google, there's plenty of information out there, the thousands of papers and thousands of articles which are available on COVID. And maybe not each of these articles are relevant and each of these articles are correct. So that's the reason it's important for all our employees to have a central repository where all the guidelines and all the important information is available. If they want, they can refer those papers. If they have any questions, they can reach out to the experts or reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help them out. So that is the first and the most important thing, because that helps all the employees to clear their doubt. The second one is employee protection. And this is something which, as the offices are opening up, the first thing what we should do is sanitize the office. And I'm sure all the companies, they are working towards that direction only to keep all the employees safe. So first thing is to sanitize office. Second is put a sanitizer across each of these rooms, provide N95 mask and all the safety precautions to employees so that they feel safe when they visit the office. So that's the second piece. The third piece is on the training. There are a lot of experts now who are available, who can come, who can guide us. If we have any doubts or any questions regarding COVID or about our health, they can always give us a direction that what we are thinking is right, wrong. So like in our organization, we have started calling experts on a weekly basis, where these are doctors who come on the panel. They have employees, if they have any specific question related to COVID or their mental health or their physical health, they are open to ask them. And these doctors, they are very happy to help the entire team. So that's on the training piece. IT solution. Now with this pandemic, the most prominent thing which has picked up is the telemedicine piece, where if we have any doubts, it's always good to reach out to doctors using the telemedicine portal, and all the doctors are available. Everyone is registered there. So use of technology is something which we should do, we should leverage. It's always good to have tie-ups with few of the doctors or few of the hospital, where if anyone is having more doubts about it, they can refer or they can visit that hospital. My next slide will cover more about it. So I'll proceed to the next slide. And if you have any questions, you can use Chatter to post your question. We'll be happy to address those questions. This slide talks about a very, very important piece where as we are calling employees and everyone is worried about their employee safety and the well-being. So one thing what we can do, and this is one of the example which I've tried to capture over here. There are plenty of organizations who provide tests, COVID tests. So one of the organization is Eken Care, and they provide tests at doorstep. So anyone who wants to get their testing done, this organization, they are more than willing to help that person or that family. And that after the testing, suppose by chance if the person is getting some positive results, then the person can undergo a 14 days home quarantine, where the Eken Care 24/7, there's a doctor available, there's a nurse available to help the patient to overcome this challenge. And also companies like Cater Ninja, who comes up very well in this pandemic situation, where if we want any kind of dietary requirement, nutrition requirement, or any kind of food requirement, I think these are organizations who are very well structured and very well placed to help those families and those patients who are suffering from this. The third piece is the insurance piece, where I believe every employer is having a insurance policy. But during this time, this is a tough time. We need to provide a additional insurance, and these are there are plenty of policies which are available, which provide COVID-19 test and the entire support. So those insurance policies are also like a support to the family, and so that they don't get into the financial burden. And the last piece is EAP, which is Employee Assistant Program, which is a 24 into 7. Again, there are multiple organizations. We have done a tie-up with one of the organization who's readily available anytime during the day or during the night. If the employee wants to get in touch, have some query or need any kind of support, they are more than they are more than willing to help them. So these are the important piece. I'll proceed to the next slide. This slide is a really, again, an important piece, because what happens typically, most of the time, what we do is, now this is a situation where we try to avoid going to hospital, even if we are suffering with something, some kind of disease or some kind of challenge. So it is, this video talks about that. I'll just play it. So that's the important message. The most important message is take care of yourself. If you are able to take care of yourself, you are taking care of everyone. That's the message which I want to deliver on this slide, because if we are avoiding any kind of challenges anyone is facing with his or her physical health, there's always to do a telemedicine center, reach out to a doctor, take a consultation. Still, if the problem is not solved, there are a lot of hospitals which are COVID-free hospital. Do visit that hospital, take all the safety measures, and even the hospitals are taking all the measures to prevent any kind of issue with any of the patients. Do visit the hospital, take care of your health, meet a doctor, talk about your health, and get your health resolved. So that's the message which I want to communicate on this slide. The next slide, which talks about the four ways to remain vigilant. I think all of us, we are aware about this, and most of the time, the first piece is be active, where it's good to do some kind of physical activity like walking, jogging, or doing a yoga, meditation, any kind of thing. So being active is really important, because still there are a lot of people who are working from home. But even if you're working from home, being active is something which is really important. The second piece is face cover. It's very important, because there are a lot of discussions around using a mask or not to use a mask. There are respiratory droplets if you don't use a mask. When we are talking to a person, when you're cracking jokes or any kind of discussion, if you're not wearing a mask, these respiratory droplets will fall out. So that's the reason it is important to have a face mask. Avoid large gatherings. So any kind of gathering, please avoid that. And the fourth piece is social distancing. Keep a distance of at least 2 meters or 6 feet with the person when you're entering into a lift, or taking a stairs, or even if you're meeting your family or friend. So it is good to have or maintain that distance. This is just a snapshot of the photos. What should be done in office: putting up a sanitizer, disposable, and then sanitizing the office, doing a temperature control, and marking all these meeting rooms and the cafeteria where the social distancing is important. So that's what it talks about. And this is my last slide, which talks about myths and facts. I think there's a lot of myth about COVID, and there's every day there's some new news which is coming up. So these are the couple of snippets which I have captured from WHO. The first one is drinking alcohol. I think there was a lot of articles and a lot of discussion happening about having or consumption of alcohol prevents you from COVID. That's not true. Any kind of alcohol doesn't help, or even if a person is having, they should have in limits. So that's the first piece. The second piece is preventive medication. So this is something which I think a lot of things are happening with this pandemic. And even if a person is getting cough and cold, which is a small thing, but it's not severe. So and even that a mild irritation, people have started taking medication. So which is also not correct and not good for your health. Only if you feel that you are going to a critical time, then please have those medication. Otherwise, do refer to a doctor only on the reference or only on the prescription of the doctor. Take this medication. The third piece is taking hot water bath. Again, it's good to be clean. But taking a really hot water bath will not prevent anyone from corona. So that's the reason. Please don't take really hot water bath. The fourth piece is exercise. When we do exercise, at times I've also seen in our society couple of people wearing mask and walking or jogging or doing cycling. While doing that, it is not good because you can have some breathing problem. So when you're doing exercise, don't use mask. Avoid using mask. And the last piece is on the fact of are there any approved medication which are available on for COVID? So currently there is nothing which is available. There is no.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Prateek, in between. Actually, your screen is not fully visible to everyone. So kindly just share the whole screen or maybe share it again. That will be really helpful.
Sure.
And I'll also request everyone not to share your screen in between the presentation. Let the speaker do the sharing.
Please let me know once it is visible.
Sure, Prateek. Yes, it is visible now. Thank you so much.
Okay. Perfect. So this is the last point which talks about the drug. So there's no drug which is currently being developed for COVID, and there are a lot of clinical trials or there are a lot of back-end job or work which is getting done. Hopefully very soon, but currently there's no medication which is available on COVID. So that's about it. Over to Anup.
Yeah. Thank you, Prateek. I think that was really helpful and a lot of insights into the things that we can do. We'll come back to the questions for you maybe, once Vishwanath has also completed his piece. Then we'll open up the forum for questions and interactions with everybody.
Sure, absolutely.
So, please, Vishwanath, please welcome to the panel, and over to you now. You can share your presentation and take it forward from here.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. I'm Vishwanath NK. Thanks for the brief introduction by Anup. I've been heading the facilities and real estate and business continuity for Grant Thornton Shared Services as of now. Very excited and honored to be part of this panel discussion and connecting with all of you today. Hope you are all staying healthy and safe. And thanks, Prateek, for giving more insights in terms of healthcare point of view and talking about employee well-being. I think reassuring the safety of employees through additional COVID insurance and other stuff, right? From a corporate point of view, now while we manage the workplace, I think as Anup mentioned earlier, will the workplace remain same as it is today, or it's going to change? Obviously, the answer is it will definitely change. At what level and what we're going to do, right? This unprecedented times has been very drastic, not only from a workplace perspective, but also in terms of impact on day-to-day life. This change and chaos has led us to a bunch of uncertainty and challenges. Well, there are a lot of negative impact. Pandemic also created a lot of opportunities which we need to focus on today. So I'll directly jump on what is my view and how corporates view it, and what are the actions we have initiated as a tactical measure and the futuristic measure what we are going to look at. Okay, we can move to the next slide, Gunjan. Okay. Okay. So in this slide, I'll talk about moving from a tactical actions to the visionary actions, what we are doing as an organizations. We all have been experiencing initial tactical response to COVID, and how do we get back to office? How the evolution to the new normal look like, right? So towards this approach, what many organizations has done is they have created a COVID-19 task force involving leadership level from HR, compliance, risk management teams, and heads of all business units. Immediately got into procuring a lot of PPE kits, as mentioned by Pratik in the earlier conversation. Got into a lot of deep cleaning, sanitization of the facilities, bringing in sanitizers, so on and so forth. But what is the future looks like? I think currently we had ensured the immediate safety of the employees. There is a lockdown, people are working from home, and as Anup mentioned or Pratik mentioned earlier, we have to get back to office at one point of time. So what is our vision towards future? What is the hope that we can bring into the employees in future, right? In the next phase, my thought is, who will come to office and why will they come to office? So I will discuss more of visionary aspect on this, what futuristic workplace means to employees. Dwelling through visionary approach, let's discuss the opportunities to lead through crisis, how we can help our organizations to manage this very emotional and psychological response to the workplace, right? We can move to the next slide. So I've just listed out what are the ups and downs of remote work. Currently, 95 to 98% of the entire workforce is working from home. If you see that earlier, it was a lot of resistance to work from home, right? Because people were thinking the work cannot happen from office. Initially, a lot of organizations were of opinion that work from home is not feasible option, while this pandemic forced organizations to work remotely as business continuity measure. So the hits of the work from home is the new normal was quickly adopted by 100% of employees. I think the whole lot of bigger organizations is talking about making work from home as a permanent model in future. That's a hit. And zero commute. Traveling time was a real pain for all the users or the employees who were traveling in bigger cities like Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, and other cities. Now, average one-way commute time, which was like 90 minutes to 120 minutes, has been completely reduced. The employees can spend more time at home, spend more time with their family members. That's a good thing about working from home. And technology being the key driver has enabled seamless remote working. I think this is one good thing, because technology is supporting seamless support to work remotely from tier 2 tier 3 cities. Many of them has left the bigger cities and been moved to the smaller cities where they reside, right? And the moderates, which are either not high or which are not low, is the issues around focus. Always well-designed workstation or space is very much important to get the required focus or flow, because many employees are finding it difficult to focus on their work due to various reasons. Could be non-ability of the private space at home office setup, or too many people working from the same space, kids interrupting the work, or millennials still working out of PGs or shared accommodation. This is a bigger challenge where focusing is become a difficult task. And productivity levels also fluctuate. We cannot always say that productivity is level is 100%. Most of them are reaching the reasonable mark of 98, 99%. Some organizations are little fluctuating. There are several issues like IT, data issues, connectivity problems, and other stuff which is leading to this issue. And when it comes to low, it's work-life balance. I think everyone would be thinking of, while we work from home, the work-life balance will be more, but it is little different now, because we have a more screen time and we have more face time with the family members. So there is a lot of interruption. We take a lot of ops. We cannot plan our work properly. I think this is the initial stage. Maybe we'll get to the betterment of work-life balance in future, but currently this is leading to some work-life balance issues. And collaboration and interaction, I think that's the key for everyone. I think remote work results in lack of collaboration. Even though we have all virtual tools like Zoom, Google, Skype, and everything, it doesn't match to the meeting of people face to face, right? It's hard to understand one's emotional response on video calls and chats. We cannot gauge their body language or tone. Virtual meetings are not as good as face to face meetings and chats, as we know that. Lack of creativity is a byproduct of lack of collaboration, and then the non-availability of collaboration or the lack of collaboration is killing the creativity. This is the major low. And the last is the ergonomic issues, which we talk about, right? Currently, most of them are working from home. Largely adopted during pre-COVID days was work from home was not there. There's a lack of home office setup. One of the reasons is again the lack of space or real estate, both India and globally. Non-availability of the additional spare room to offer to get into a private office. I think all this is leading to a ergonomics miss, and people are getting into an health issues. I think these are the key challenges of work from home. We can move to the slide 3. Okay. So what are we experiencing? Yesterday, we largely worked in the office. Very small amount of work has happened remotely. And today, this unprecedented shift, we are forcefully asked to work remotely. And yes, it is working for most of us. And very small amount of work is being done from office, right? And then while we look at the future world, I think it's a mix of both hybrid. I think it's going to be a hybrid model where work needs to be done both from office and from home, right? So we will have both combination of work from office and work from home. Probability looks like currently there will be somewhere between 30 to 50% of the employees may work from home. It again depends. How do we look at the future, right? We can move to the next slide. So while we have this surge from moving from work from office to fully working remotely today and then to a hybrid model, what is the new purpose of the office? So do we really have to come back to office or can the work still be done from home? I mean, this is the major question, right? It's very difficult to answer at this stage, like can we move 100% working from home or remotely? But what I say is, this is my personal opinion about this. I think the future office will become more experiential destination, right? Not it is where the sophisticated technology resides. It is designed for high level of interaction and information sharing. It is the coolest place to be. You love to be there, right? I mean, that's what asks people to come back to office. And new office space is the art of culture. It is heavily branded, exciting space to foster communications, face-to-face and casual and random conversations happens there. Human interactions and visual clues flourish compared to what we do on a virtual meeting platform, right? And then challenge for us in future is to find that fine balance while designing a workplace to cater to employees' uninterrupted focus work, more collaboration, and foster creativity and culture. So we need to find this balance in future. And how we going to find it is depends on what are the actions we're going to take in future, right? We'll have to return to office in the near future, hopefully. But what's intriguing to me about future workplace or strength of us return to office is workplace shall be offered as a service. Shall be place where employees desire to be in future work. Should be a place of efficiency, right? I think future workplace efficiency will not be measured based on what is the utilization we do per square feet or what is the cost per square feet, what is the cost optimization we do. Efficiency metrics for future on workplace will depend on how many employees are really turning up to office, and if there is a surge or increase in employee turnout at offices, that's a real key achievement for every facility or a real estate person in the market, right? We can move to the slide 5. Okay, so while we looked at what does the evolution of workplace look like, I think there are critical areas which we need to address. I think Pratik has addressed, touched on some points in the earlier slides, like bringing in sanitizers, deep cleaning of the offices and everything. So I'll talk about social distance, which is very, very important at this point of time. I think social distance is seen as a preventive cure for COVID-19, right? All these years we were back in densifying our offices, reducing our seat size from 6 into 5 into 4 into 4 workstations, running workstations and everything in the name of open office designs. Now the pandemic is really pushing us to create spacious offices, not only in terms of workstation, but also in the areas like cafeteria, pantry, restrooms, and collaboration zones, etc. I think 6 feet office concept is the new normal, and it has to be scientifically dealt and to be implemented in all areas of workspace. So I will not say that one design suits for all, because when it comes to facilities or corporate real estate, we manage offices, we manage airports, we manage restaurants, we manage the docking stations and everything. So I think there are different models which work for different people. I think we need to find balance and see what better works for everyone, right? Social distancing signages, both digital and printed, to be displayed at all offices to create more awareness. Very, very important, because when employees come to office, after a day or two, they become more comfortable. They say that we are all known people, known crowd, and they tend to forget the social distancing. We should ensure as a responsible facility team to ensure that people manage the social distance at any cost of time. Social distancing inside elevators with opposite side facing floor markings, one-way movement inside the offices, reduced occupancy inside workstation, maybe alternate seating, whatever it is planned as, and reduced seating in cafeterias, reduced occupancy in buses and shuttles. It's all a part of the social distancing, what we are looking at in future, right? And PPE kits been very critical during these days. I think earlier this was not heard of in a regular corporate world. More of a healthcare industry was using all these things. Now PPE kits been issued, like face mask, hand sanitizers and soap dispensers, litter-proof face shields and hand gloves are mandate for the ground staff, which has to be issued to them, and we ensure that they use them appropriately. Face mask and door opening handles for employees and technicians. Thermal checks, temperature checks for all the people who enter and exit our premises is very, very important. Hand sanitizers, handheld thermal temperature checks, again, disinfectant spray guns, additional disinfectant chemicals, and for cleaning office service, transport, any other surfaces which been touched by the employees is very, very critical at these days. And while we talk about employee transport, I think need for employee transport may increase in future, considering the lack of space. I think safe public transport availability. Now the metro is shut down, the number of buses are shut down, the count of buses availability is shut down, and even if it opens up, employees or people will not be more encouraging to come in public transport. I think they will have that fear factor in their mind, and they would love to travel in the company transport. And how do we do that is, we need to create that safety awareness, and we need to give that safe and secure transport for them to come to office, right? So in employee transportation, I think the key challenges would be, we cannot operate AC vehicles for sure, because this is like an airborne disease, and then people would deny using AC in the vehicles. We need to switch on to non-AC vehicles with the reduced occupancy both in buses and cabs. I think that's a mandate. People definitely, social distancing is required inside the vehicle. A partitions will come in the cabs, obviously, by forgetting driver and the employee, assuring more safety. Sanitization of vehicles pre and post trip, I think very, very critical, because there is a lot of touch points inside the vehicles. So sanitization of the vehicles is very, very important. PPE kit usage by the drivers, I think it is very critical. Since transport operation happens outside the four walls, which we do not have CCTV cameras to monitor or so many people to monitor, creating awareness among the drivers, employees, and the service partners is very key in this arena, right? And in future, there will be not trip model, or there are different models which will be going in. Currently, I think a vehicle is used in company in the same premise, and after 4 hours it does the trip for the other company, right? That will not work in future, at least for the near future of 6 to 12 months, because we need to have a dedicated fleet to ensure that all the safety measures are being assured. In this, the vendor commercial and contract negotiations and the whole arena of employee transportation will change. And next is food, beverage, and amenities. I think we have Anup and Anurag here from Cater Ninja. I think they are the most better solution providers in this arena. But from a corporate, what we have done to ensure utmost safety while employees use cafeteria and battery services is very limited food and beverages during initial phase of return to office, obviously, and will promote employees to bring their own food. Even if we provide food for people, I mean, for the millennials who stay in PGs and shared accommodation, they would definitely want food. More of fact food distribution will be given to the employees. Initial snack vending machines with no touch pay mechanism will be put on all the floors. No contact coffee vending machines and water dispenser will be the new trend. And use of eco-friendly disposable plates versus your regular usage of plates and spoons will come in place. I think stringent food quality and hygiene checks, very, very important. Frequent food quality tests by reputed labs and external agencies will definitely come in place. Digitization of cafe operations will become the norm of the day, because you can't have touchless operations while we have multiple vendors supplying food and hundreds of employees walking into cafeteria every day. I think there are many automation solution providers which are there. I think I'll talk about that in the next topic, digital touchless experience on this, right? And automation is very, very important in this stage to make our office ready for the future post-COVID days. Automation will touch all parts of corporate operations and the employee steps, right from booking your seats. Today, when we move to a hybrid model, someone has to book their seats either for a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or anything. It's not a fixed seats what we have like we will have today. So app-based solution on seat management, pre-booking of seats prior to a day or a week is very, very important. Technology is going to help us, where managers can approve the seat booking, utilization, check-in, check-out will all come in place for sure, right? And app-based cafe seat booking, obviously densification, the crowd management inside the cafe will also help by managing these apps. I think these apps will ensure the social distancing. I think likewise, Arogya Setu app is working. There are a lot of apps which identifies the social distancing using the Bluetooth. If someone comes closer than 6 feet, you'll get an alarm kind of a thing, right? Those kind of apps will definitely help in future. And then self-health declaration solutions to restrict employees with COVID symptoms entering into office, very, very important. I think this will also help everyone to ensure employees self-health declaration. Preventive is better than cure, so that we can ask or restrict employees with ill symptoms to stay at home. Transport automation to track geocode employees and drivers residing in containment zones. This will help us to track and geocode such people who reside in containment zones, so that we can ask them to not to come into office and stay home and safe. And driver and vehicle hygiene check levels, no touch digital sign in and sign out to ensure paperless transport operations. I think technology will touch all the arena of corporate services in future. So adoption of technology will be key to manage post-COVID facility services. Last but not the least is the community managers. I think facility team role will drastically change in future. More than just a service providers, facility team will become a experienced managers or a community managers. This is what my view is. Right from providing warm welcome and safety assurance to employees returning to the office, and to monitor control measures like temperature check, social distancing, CCTV cameras monitoring, technology support. All these will be an additional role for all our facility team members. Monitoring new cleaning protocols, help ground team navigate use of PPE kits, and we'll also still continue to support employees work from home with required logistics in future. I think that's a hybrid model where we have people work from both office and work from home, right? Employees will love to see the community managers and the clinic staff on the floors. They will definitely be treated as a critical services in future. And last but not the least, how do we ensure people come back to office? What is the assurance we give to employees to people come back to office? I think different organization has taken different steps to it. This is our collective opportunity to lead and drive change and truly show that what workplace is all about to all our employees. We need to build that confidence with our partners, executives, and also with all our employees as a process to give that confidence for employees to come back to office, right? As an organization, Grant Thornton, we have kept open communication channel between the leadership and employee group. COVID-19 task force is created. 24/7 employees assistant program is created. There is a group who will help employee on their personal travel, healthcare assistance, so on and so forth. And we have done certain policy changes with regards to work from home, flexi working, change in leave policy, reimbursement for internet charges, and everything, so that employee feel comfort at this pandemic times. And frequent updates, communication emailers to employees on office reopening plan also been shared. We share videos and visuals of office readiness with all such initiatives. As we said, what all we do: touchless taps in the cafeteria, touchless taps in the pantry, hand sanitizers, dispensers placed in everything, social distancing managed within the workspace. All these visuals are shared with employees to create more confidence for them to come back to office. I think we spoke more about how the office looks like and what are the tactical measures organizations have taken it. Before I end my conversation, I'll leave with these final thoughts. What are people thinking and feeling at this point of time is very, very important. How do we create social interaction and social engagement at work? How do we migrate to workplace as a service than as opposed to be earlier as just a place to perform work? Which this will enable driving collaboration, liquid workspace, driven by hospitality, respond to the needs of groups and business units. And then how do we drive touchless workplace? So how do we deliver services seamlessly to our folks? I think very, very critical in future. I see this as an opportunistic and a positive approach and make it inclusionary rather than exclusionary. I think we should make it inclusionary so that, in my point of view, the drivers for real change is how do we create positive environment, push employees from remote working, which they think as a safe zone today, and then attract them and encourage them to come back to office. I think this is very, very critical, and what are the actions taken by corporates will definitely help people come back to office in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishwanath. Some of the points that you mentioned about, things you are changing at the workspace and some of the initiatives you have taken to encourage the employees were really, really helpful and insightful. I mean, even after talking to so many companies, some of your inputs were really even new to us. And thank you for sharing in such detail all your thoughts over there. Before we open up the forum, I'll have a couple of questions for both the panelists. Since we represent the industry, Pratik, my first question is to you. We are talking about safety on the workspace. Food is one aspect of the workspace where you see a lot of people coming together, during the lunch time or the snacks time, and there will be a little more, collaboration. People would want to talk to some of their friends and colleagues, whom they are meeting, who are almost like family after so many days. So even while maintaining that social distancing, during that food space, when what we call like your sutta breaks and your coffee breaks and your lunch breaks, how do you see that aspect of being thing being taken care of from a healthcare perspective, and how do we address that those kind of concerns that people might have?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Anup. And when we started back our Gurgaon office, so that was the first concern which everyone was having. How do we utilize the cafeteria? And so in our cafeteria, what we have done, we have on the table, we have given like we have provided a transparent sheet, which basically divides the table into four. So if the table is of four people, the transparent sheet like placed in between all four people, so that when they are having a chat, the respiratory droplets doesn't fall to the other plate or to the other person. So that's what we are trying to do, and I think that's the best way, because even if you maintain a social distancing when you are having food, the tendency of Indians, especially all of us, we have the tendency to speak a lot. So that's helping us a lot.
Second question is for you, Vishwanath. You mentioned that you are encouraging a lot of people to bring food from home, which is a very good scenario. The fallout of that is a lot of people who are not able to bring from home, because today a lot of house helps are not available. Especially the middle-aged people with kids at home, you have to do work for home and work from home. So a lot of things are challenging over there. So people who can't bring food, they will have two options. One, the workspace provides, the companies take care of their requirement in office. And the second, they might go out. The moment they go out to eat food, they get more exposed, because the more frequently you step out, the higher risk zone you are entering in. So how do you take care of that and balance it out?
Very right question. I think this is the mere challenge even for millennials, not only for mid-age people who manage both work and work from home, right? There are people who stay in PGs and shared accommodations where they don't have this domestic help to prepare their own food, and they have to return to office. I think we have considered this in advance. What we are looking at is we clearly provide packed hygiene food for such people, and we are implementing in a stage of implementing technology where they can pre-book their food. maybe a 3 hours or 4 hours in advance, because I know I come to office, I definitely have to have lunch. I can pre-book my food so that your food is ready at a given point of time. That's one thing what we are looking at, and also managing the cafeteria densification at this situation of time. What we are doing is we are opening up our pantries. We have multiple pantries and also a dedicated cafeteria. So we are opening up the pantries for lunch with the social distancing, and you can also book your slot and table at particular time. Like we give 1 hour slot or 30-minute slot for per person, so that you know what time you can book and you have the space available for you.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great idea. Yeah.
This is our approach currently.
So from that approach, Pratik, if I have to link one more question as a follow-up to that. So people, if they are sharing food, right? For example, the company is providing food, and like Vishwanath explained, a packed meal for an individual could be one of the best form, to give food to employees. Now, if two people are eating food, there is also a tendency we have, like somebody is calling from home, so sharing food. So do you think food can be, I mean, a lot of thoughts are there, we hear a lot of news. Do you think food can be a medium of transfer of coronavirus from people to people, or it is more of the contamination of the food due to, like speaking, the droplets falling over there? What is the sense of a medical community on the transmission because of the food?
Yeah. So Arun, sorry, Anup, droplet is the only way of transmission of these disease. But I think the good thing is most of the offices, when the employee is entering the office itself, there's a lot of pre-check which has been done, which is thermometer check, the thermal check which has been done, which I think clearly sensitize the employer and also the person who's visiting office whether he's having some kind of infection. So I think that's the first check where by default, if anyone who's suffering will not enter the office. So that's the first level. But at the same time, what you said and what I said, I think that's the way. Respiratory droplets is the way to spread COVID, and I think that's the only way. So taking food from other person's tiffin may or may not, I would say. And I think that's the reason when I explained the frame what we created, transparent frame with a film, that is the best way to prevent each other from spreading the infection.
Okay, thank you. Vishwanath, one question over there. For example, you talked about use of technology in ordering food. So Cater Ninja also has an app where which is a closed-ended app, unlike your Swiggy and Zomato where anybody can order. It's a very closed-ended app which is controlled by the office facilities and admin heads who knows that this is the food that is available, whether the employee is paying or the employer is paying is irrespective. But they have the food is coming from a safe place, and these are the things that are available to a lot of people. Now, the other point is in all of the social distancing that we are talking about, people also want to interact. One of the reasons, like you said, collaboration leads to creativity. And to encourage that, are there any specific measures you are taking which, while maintaining the social distancing, can increase the social interaction between your people in the organization?
I think very difficult question is this, because while we are saying social distancing and how do we maintain collaboration, right? One is about the Cater Ninja app on the restricted food delivery thing, right? I think instead of an open market, you have a known food suppliers who have a highest hygiene food supply. So one is this, we can always explore this. I think our employees have been using this app very frequently. This was rolled out earlier, and then when there was a lot of apps like Zomato and all, the usage was very different. Today, maybe people may turn into Cater Ninja to look at the hygiene food service, yes. And while we ensure, how do we ensure collaboration during social distancing is, we can always do that. There are pantries, open pantries. Maybe we can look at having partitions, as Pratik said, I think, to avoid the droplets, but still people can collaborate there. Right after food, they can chat over a coffee. They can bring their own food or order food. I think sharing food will be at the discretion of the employers, because they are also aware of their safety. But yes, coming together into one place and enjoying the food and sharing over a coffee will definitely bring collaboration. I think that's one point which we need to look at. But while you allow people to use the pantry and cafeterias, we are trying to make it more touchless. So with that, the touch points have reduced, but people can safely collaborate within each other.
Okay, thank you. Pratik, this question comes from Vinod Job. He has posed a question that, in the last couple of days, we are also hearing news about WHA, kind of accepting that there might be a possibility of, COVID spread through air. Though, I mean, it's very, very preliminary. They are still analyzing data. Can you throw some light? Is it more like still a droplet which is being, or it is really like an airborne disease? And can you throw some clarity on that subject?
Yeah, so Anup, as means currently there's no paper which talks about that it's an airborne disease, and it is more to do with the respiratory droplet, or if a person has touched any specific place where the infected person has touched any specific place where a non-infected person is also touching, so that's the only way of transmitting this disease. Otherwise, as of now, there's no clinical paper which talks about it, though WHO has started some kind of work identifying whether it is really a airborne disease.
Okay. The next question, Vishwanath, comes from Poonam. She's asking a question, is whether for the co-working space, which was really catching up, nowadays we see they are in real trouble when they talk about WeWork. So how do you see co-working space and they kind of, trying to recapture that space going forward? Do you see that drop, which is of course going to be in all aspects, but in terms of redesigning, do you think the sharing co-working space can still tackle this problem? And what is your view on that subject?
I would say yes, co-working places will still continue to operate because many organizations will not have their standalone buildings, right? There'll be multiple clients operating from same building, maybe not same floor. Many people will be sharing the same building from multiple clients. The same thing goes with co-working spaces, maybe WeWork, co-work and everything. They're also looking at changing the entire design perspective. I think co-work is more about squeezing the space and then giving opportunity for multiple organizations to come in under the same platform. But that's a good thing. But keeping in mind on the social distancing and other challenges, they will definitely redesign it. Right from the seating perspective, having more partitions inside the spaces, and then maybe the collaboration what they add in terms of co-work phrase like Friday beer or a open cafeteria, everything will change. As Pratik said, a lot of things will come in there also. Partitions, restricted access into the cafeterias, thermal checks, and then avoiding all these social gatherings for some time will definitely prevail. But co-working will still continue to work in India because smaller organizations who are already in co-work place cannot immediately move out of it. Because even if they want to bring in 50% of their people with maintaining social distancing, they need to get those workstations in place in future, right? With that, co-working will still prevail. And even in the bigger organizations where we share our space with multiple clients, we will have all these controls and it will continue to work in future too.
Okay. So one last question before we end the webinar, because Pratik, I think you have a hard stop at 4 p.m. So this last question is for you, Pratik. One of the question that Mr. Abhishek Mathur has asked, a solution also is talked about, is for these packed meals. If we don't, if we have a packed meal for the employees, they might not require to go to the cafeteria. They can sit it in their own space, and we can provide dustbin so they can eat and throw it out over there. So this question is actually to both of you, to Pratik, about your response to that, and also Vish, I would like you to compliment on that by saying whether for large organization it is practical to allow people to, because I think you have a strict policy of not allowing meals on the desk. So do you think it would be practical to do that adaptation? So first, Pratik, if you can give your response to that thought. And
yeah, so sorry, Anup, the question is basically, can we use a disposable? Let me just check the chat also.
Abhishek Mathur has asked for that.
Yeah.
So dustbins near where they can dispose of their meal boxes once they're finished.
Yeah, yes. I think it's a good solution, and I think as Indians we are really famous for jugaad. So this is some kind of jugaad, I would say, and obviously this can be a new normal also.
Mhm. Okay. Pratik, and also they have asked for some EAP contacts numbers. Once you share with us, we'll broadcast it to everyone.
Sure.
So, wish we can continue. Pratik as a hard stop at 4. He is reporting. Maybe we'll continue for maybe a little while, and then we can.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone, and all
Thanks,
the best.
Pratik.
Wish you best of health. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pratik. Thank you so much for giving us your time and insight.
Thank you, Anup. Thank you, Ketan Ninja team.
So, which the question which I asked, like for this eating at the workspace, like at your desk, packed meal at your desk. Do you think that is possible, and what kind of adaptation would be required to handle that, or would you be open to do something like that?
So there are 2 points into it. One is smaller organizations definitely have to open up because they will not have their dedicated cafeterias. When they don't have a dedicated large cafeterias, the only option is to allow people to eat from their desk. But I know social distancing will come in. There will be alternated desking, the one desk gap between seats, so that they can always eat at their workstations and then dispose it safely. I do not recommend disposing it in their workstation dustbins, because that may again create hygiene issues. So we can have a dedicated disposal bin so that can be disposed. But at a larger organizations where we have a bigger cafeterias and pantry areas, as we rightly said, we can allocate timing, we can manage crowd, we can do the partitions inside the cafeteria, and we can ask people to go and eat there. So based on the possibilities and the space availability, we can always shift between these two.
I'll also want to open up to the entire group in case you have missed posting a question. So you want to ask a question, may feel free to take the mic and ask your questions, please. We can all discuss that. Okay, I think so. That's it. I think we are on time, Vish, and thank you so much for your insight from a workspace and the challenges the industry are facing and how you are tackling them. And we wish all of the gentlemen and the ladies who have joined the call in all the best in the efforts that you guys are taking to resume the workspace. We are in touch with a lot of you, and we look forward to working together in making the workspace more safer for the employees to come back. And I mean, we are in this together, like we would like to say, and hope to do one more session like this. If you have any feedback, questions, please drop in us. We'll see if we need one more, or we can answer them separately as well. So feel free to send your feedback to us. And thank you once again for everybody who has joined and listening to us. And Vish, thank you again for your time. And Gunjan, thank you so much from the Ketan Ninja team who has taken the effort of organizing the entire webinar and making it a success. So thank you, Gunjan, for pulling it off.
Thank you. Thanks, Anup. Thank you all. Wish you a good health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.